I want you to imagine a specific kind of heat. I'm not talking about the weather.
Okay.
I'm talking about that flush that starts right at the base of your neck, crawls up behind your ears, and makes your scalp feel tight.
The physiological red alert.
Exactly. The I am about to lose it signal. Because that is precisely where I was 3 days ago.
Oh, this is a recent one.
Very recent. I was standing on my balcony, coffee in hand, just trying to have a peaceful morning, looking down at the sidewalk. And down there, this local hair salon, perfectly nice people usually, was dragging out this massive commercial-grade sunshade.
Mm-hmm.
And they plunked it right in the middle of the public walkway.
Okay. So it's an obstruction. Bit annoying.
It wasn't just an obstruction. To me, in that moment, it looked like an invasion. My heart started hammering. I was gripping the railing so hard my knuckles were white.
Wow.
I turned to my wife, and I didn't just say, that's annoying. I launched into a sermon. I said, look at this. It's anarchy. Next, they'll be taking our parking spots. They think they own the street.
You went from a parasol to the collapse of civilization in about 6 seconds.
I did. And looking back, that is the absurdity I want to grapple with today. Why does a piece of canvas on a stick trigger a physiological response designed for fighting off a wolf pack? Why did I feel personally physically threatened by shade?
It's the question that sits at the center of everything we're discussing today.
Welcome back to the deep dive.
We are continuing our series on the architecture of the human mind, specifically looking at the cognitive behavioral therapy or CBT model.
Right. And we've covered the A, the activating event. In this case, that's the sunshade.
We've covered the C, the consequences. That's your racing heart and the sermon you gave to your wife.
Poor woman. But today we are diving into the gap, the mysterious B.
The beliefs. And I'm glad we're dedicating a full dive to this because, frankly, this is the part of the model most people get wrong.
How so?
They think the A causes the C. They think the sunshade caused the anger.
It feels like it did. It feels immediate. Cause and effect.
It feels that way. But if I had been on that balcony with you, I might have seen that shade and thought, oh, nice, the sidewalk won't be so hot today.
Right. Same event.
Completely different reaction. The variable isn't the sunshade. The variable is the invisible code running in your head that interprets the sunshade.
So our mission today is to crack open the skull and look at that source code. We want to understand the life algorithms that made me freak out, and more importantly, how we can actually rewrite them.
We should probably start by defining our terms, because when we say beliefs, people tend to tune out. They think we're talking about religion or politics or maybe affirmations.
Yeah, like, I believe I can fly. Or, I believe vanilla is better than chocolate. It sounds soft. It sounds like opinions.
In the context of our cognitive architecture, a belief isn't an opinion. It is an operational command.
An operational command.
Think of it less like a philosophy and more like the firmware on your phone. You have all these apps running on the screen. That's your anger, your anxiety, your joy.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't see the zeros and ones, the code that tells the app what to do when you press a button.
I just know that when I press open, it opens. I don't see the logic tree behind it. I have no idea how it works.
Precisely. The B is that logic tree. It's the if this, then that statement running in the background. If sidewalk is blocked, then feel threatened.
And for most of us, we are running legacy code that we never wrote. We're running apps without ever reading the terms of service.
That is a perfect way to put it. We just clicked agree at age 5 and never looked back.
The source material uses the iceberg metaphor here, which is a classic for a reason, but let's see if we can get a bit more granular with it.
It is a classic. The sea, the shouting, the sweating, your whole sermon on the balcony is the tip sticking out of the water.
It's what everyone sees, what I see.
It's visible. It's undeniable. But the B is the 90% of the mass submerged underwater. It structurally supports everything you see, but you can't look at it directly.
You can't.
You only know it's there because of the tip. It's the invisible giant that dictates where the visible part goes.
And if you try to fix the anger, the tip of the iceberg, without addressing the belief underwater,
you're just rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. You might calm down for 10 minutes, maybe take some deep breaths.
Right, which is what I did. Eventually.
But the next time a sunshade appears, or a slow driver, or a rude email, you'll hit the exact same iceberg. You haven't changed the structure, you've just painted the surface.
Okay, so let's look at the developer of this software. Because if I'm programmed to treat a hairdresser's umbrella like a saber-toothed tiger, the developer did a terrible job.
Did they?
It feels like it. Why is the system so sensitive, so glitchy?
Actually, if you look at it biologically, the developer did a fantastic job for a world that no longer exists.
Oh.
You have to remember, We are running Paleolithic software in a 2026 environment. We are Stone Age hunters living in high-rise condos.
This is the evolutionary mismatch theory. Our hardware is ancient.
Exactly. Your core algorithms were written over hundreds of thousands of years on the savannah. And in that environment, survival depends on managing two types of errors, type 1 and type 2.
Okay, break those down for me.
A type 1 error is a false positive. You hear a rustle in the grass and you think, tiger?
Right.
You run away, but it was just the wind.
Okay, so the cost is I look a bit silly and I burn some calories running for no reason.
Exactly. The cost is low. A type 2 error is a false negative. You hear a rustle in the grass, you think, oh, it's just the wind, but this time it is a tiger.
The cost is death.
Game over. Gene pool closed. So which error do you think nature selected for?
The less deadly one. The false positive.
Ruthlessly. Nature ruthlessly selected for the paranoid. Nature selected for the brains that made type 1 errors all day long. We are the descendants of the anxious.
That's a powerful statement. We are the descendants of the anxious.
We are the descendants of the people who assumed everything was a threat until proven otherwise.
That puts a different spin on it. So my brain sees the sunshade, and it doesn't have a specific file for commercial encroachment on public property.
No, it has a file for territory violation. And in the Stone Age, if someone violates your territory, they are likely coming for your food or your mate.
So the stakes are life and death.
And the response must be aggression. Speed is more important than accuracy.
That's a key point. Speed over accuracy.
The amygdala, the brain's little alarm bell, can trigger a fight-or-flight response in milliseconds. The prefrontal cortex, the part of you that understands civil ordinances and parking rules, takes significantly longer to boot up.
It's like trying to start an old computer.
Exactly. By the time your logic comes online, your body is already pumped full of cortisol and you're screaming at your wife about the downfall of society.
So I'm fighting a biological uphill battle. The deck is stacked against my rational mind.
You are, but that doesn't let you off the hook. Just because the software is default doesn't mean you can't patch it.
Okay, let's talk about the patches. Because not everyone reacts the way I did. My neighbor probably walked by that sunshade and didn't even notice it.
Right.
If we all have the same Paleolithic hardware, why is my code different from his?
This brings us to the stack of your beliefs. You start with the hardware nature, genetics.
The factory settings.
Think of this as your RPG character stats at the start of a video game. You rolled the dice and maybe you got high sensitivity or high neuroticism or a predisposition to anxiety. It's a genetic toggle switch.
Okay, so that's the baseline.
Exactly. But then comes the messy part. Nurture. These are the software patches installed by your parents, your teachers, your bullies, your culture, your first heartbreak. Your first boss.
The patches. I like that. But patches can have bugs.
Massive bugs. Let's say you grew up in a chaotic household where the rules changed every day. You might have installed a patch, an intermediate belief that says, if I cannot control my environment, I am unsafe.
Or if you had a critical parent, a patch that says, if I'm not perfect, I will be criticized.
Or, if I am not perfect, I will be abandoned. And these aren't just thoughts you have occasionally. They become the rules of the game.
The operating principles.
The source material breaks this down into a really useful hierarchy. At the very top, you have automatic thoughts. These are the pop-ups.
He's a jerk. I'm tired. I forgot to buy milk.
The fleeting stuff. Thousands a day. We barely notice them. Below that, you find the intermediate beliefs.
These are rules.
These are the rules and assumptions. People must respect the law. I must work hard to be valued. I should never show weakness.
Okay. The shoulds and musts.
Exactly. But at the very bottom, that's the bedrock.
The core beliefs.
The core beliefs. These are absolute global statements about the self, others, or the world.
For example.
I am incompetent, I am unlovable, I am weak, or the world is dangerous, people are untrustworthy.
These feel heavy.
They are. And the deepest one of all, the ultimate belief that drives the whole system, is simply the drive for self-confirmation, the drive to prove that we exist and that our model of the world is correct.
That sounds heavy. You're saying my sunshade rant is actually trying to prove I matter?
In a way, yes. Your brain would rather be angry and right than calm and wrong.
Why? That seems so counterproductive.
Because being right confirms your existence. It confirms that your rules apply to the world. It makes the world predictable.
But wait, hang on. If I have a core belief that I am unlovable, wouldn't I want to disprove that? Why would my brain want to confirm something so painful?
This is one of the darkest and most important paradoxes of the mind. The brain craves prediction more than it craves happiness.
Say that again.
The brain craves prediction more than it craves happiness. If you believe I am unlovable and someone treats you badly, your brain actually gets a little hit of dopamine.
A reward for being treated badly.
It's not a pleasure reward. It's a prediction-correct reward. The brain says, aha, I knew it. The world makes sense. My model is accurate.
So we sabotage ourselves just to be right about our own negative self-image.
We unconsciously seek out evidence that confirms our deepest beliefs. Because to the primitive brain, an unpredictable world is a dangerous world. It feels safer to be reliably miserable than to be surprisingly happy.
That's terrifying. It also explains a lot of my dating history from my 20s. But let's stay on the Sunshade.
Let's.
So this code is running.
Yeah.
The world must be orderly. People must follow rules. But as we said, it's invisible. It's underwater. So how do I actually read it? I can't just right-click on my brain and view source.
You can't. You have to become a detective. You have to look at the evidence the suspect left behind at the crime scene.
The C, the consequences.
Exactly. In the source material, this is called constructing the search mosaic.
A mosaic.
Yeah.
Because one clue isn't enough.
Right. This is so important. If you just look at the sunshade incident, you might just conclude, I hate sunshades. That's not a belief, that's a preference.
Or I hate that salon.
Exactly. To find the real belief, you need to look at 3 or 4 different events where you had a similarly strong, disproportionate reaction.
So the time I got furious at the person who cut in line at the coffee shop.
Yes.
And the time I almost lost my mind because my colleague missed a deadline and threw off my whole schedule.
Perfect. You lay these scenes side by side and look for the common denominator. The pattern is the belief.
And what are we looking for in those events? What's the evidence?
The 4 components of C. When you get triggered, you need to freeze frame and catalog 4 specific data points.
Okay, component 1.
First, physiology. What is the body doing? We usually ignore this or we notice it last.
I definitely ignore it.
Yeah.
Until I'm shaking and my voice is cracking.
But the body knows first. The jaw clenches before the thought forms. The stomach drops. The shoulders tense up. So record the heat, the tension, the heart rate. Be a scientist of your own body.
Okay, physiology. Got it.
Second, behavior. What did you actually do? Did you fight? Did you yell? Did you flee? Did you go silent and withdraw? Did you freeze?
Did you open the fridge and start eating?
Yes. Did you reach for a drink? Did you start scrolling on your phone? These are all behaviors designed to manage the internal state.
Okay, third.
Emotion. And you have to be specific here. This is where most people stop. They just say, I felt bad.
Or I was pissed off.
Pissed off is a surface emotion. It's a shield. What's underneath it? Are you feeling humiliated, powerless, ashamed, disrespected, abandoned?
That's the hard part. Admitting you feel humiliated is, well, it's humiliating.
Which is why we hide it behind anger. Anger is a very empowering, high-energy emotion. Shame is a disabling, low-energy one. The brain prefers the shield.
Okay, and the 4th component.
And 4th, cognition. What was the exact sentence flashing in your mind at that peak moment? Not the story you told yourself later, but the hot thought.
You have no respect.
Or, I can't handle this. Or, this always happens to me. It's usually short, absolute, and feels 100% true in the moment.
Right. I want to put myself on the operating table here. I want to use this Search Mosaic on my sunshade incident.
Let's do it.
Because I suspect there is something uglier underneath my righteous indignation, and I think I need to see it.
This is brave work. So let's lay out the mosaic pieces.
Okay.
We have the physiology, the heat in the neck, the shaking, the tight scalp.
Okay.
We have the surface, emotion, anger, indignation, frustration.
Good.
Now let's look at the behavior. You said you ranted to your wife. Did you go down to the street?
No, absolutely not. I stayed on the balcony.
Interesting. Why?
Well, I didn't want to make a scene in public. I didn't want to be that guy screaming at a hairdresser.
Yeah.
It felt undignified.
Undignified. Okay. So you engaged in what we call displacement.
What's that?
You wanted to fight, but the direct target felt too risky or socially expensive. So you moved the war to a safe field, your living room, and vented to an ally who you knew wouldn't hit back.
That makes me sound somewhat cowardly.
It's not cowardice. It's energy regulation. It's a risk calculation.
Yeah.
Your brain calculated the odds of winning a street fight versus winning a conversation with your spouse.
It chose the sure thing.
It chose the path of least resistance. But it didn't solve the problem, did it? The sunshade was still there.
No, it was still there, and I was still stewing about it for the next hour.
Okay. Now for the cognition. The hot thoughts, you said, they think they own the street. What else?
They have no right This is so disrespectful. What's next? Are they going to take my parking spot?
Okay. We have all 4 pieces. Now let's drill down. I'm going to use the 4XY technique. I'm going to ask you why, and I want you to answer with the first thing that comes up, even if it sounds childish or irrational. Don't filter it.
Okay, I'm ready. I think.
Alex, why did that sunshade make you so angry?
Because they have no right to put it there.
Yeah.
It's public property. They are breaking the rules.
Okay, that's the surface. That's the intermediate belief. Why is it so upsetting to you personally that they broke the rules?
Because it's unfair. I pay my taxes. I follow the ordinances. I don't just dump my furniture on the street. If I play by the rules, they should have to as well.
We're getting warmer. You feel a distinct imbalance, a sense of injustice. But let's go deeper. Why must everyone follow the rules? What happens if they don't?
If they don't, then it's just chaos. It's anarchy. It means anyone can just take whatever they want. The whole system breaks down.
Okay, here's the last one, the most important one. Why is chaos so dangerous for you specifically? If the world is lawless, if the system breaks down, what happens to Alex? Don't censor it. Just let it come up.
If the world is lawless, I lose.
Tell me more.
I'm not a fighter. I'm not big. I rely on the rules, on the system to protect me. If it just comes down to brute force and who's the loudest, I'm going to get crushed. I'm not the alpha in that scenario.
And there it is.
Wow.
Do you feel that shift in your body right now?
Yeah. It feels heavy. It feels like a pit in my stomach.
We started with, they are rude property usurpers. We ended with, I am too weak to survive without the protection of the system.
That is incredibly vulnerable. My anger wasn't about the shade at all.
No. Your anger was a bodyguard. A big, scary, shouting bodyguard that you hired to stand in front of a very small, frightened core belief.
And the belief is, I am helpless, or I am weak.
I am not strong enough to protect myself. So when you saw the rule being broken, your brain didn't see a parasol. It saw a crack in the shield.
The shield that protects me.
And it screamed, red alert, you are exposed, you are vulnerable, panic.
Exactly. And because you believe you are weak, which is the core belief, you chose a behavior, displacement, that avoided direct conflict.
The whole system worked perfectly according to its own internal logic. The logic is just based on a faulty premise.
But is it a faulty premise? I mean, let's be real. I am actually not a cage fighter. If society collapses, I probably would have a hard time.
There is a grain of truth, sure. That's what makes these beliefs so sticky. But is a sunshade on a sidewalk the collapse of society?
No, of course not.
Is a hairdresser a warlord coming to pillage your home?
Unlikely. Highly unlikely.
That is the false positive we talked about. Your core belief took a tiny piece of data, the sunshade, and generalized it into an existential crisis.
And that cost me my peace of mind, my morning coffee, and it definitely annoyed my wife.
It did. So now you found the code. And you're right, it's depressing code. I am weak. So the question is, how do you uninstall it?
Yeah. I don't want to walk around feeling like a victim every time someone double parks.
This is where the work begins. And I want to be clear, this is hard work. Neuroplasticity, changing the brain, consumes a huge amount of energy.
It's easier to stay on the old road.
Your brain wants to stay on the highway it knows, even if that highway leads to misery. It's efficient. It hates bushwhacking.
So what's the machete? How do I start clearing a new path?
Step 1 is radical acceptance.
Which means what? Giving up? Okay, I'm weak. I accept it. That sounds terrible.
No, not at all. It's the opposite of giving up. It means acknowledging the code is running without judgment. You can't change software you deny exists. It's like trying to fix a bug you claim isn't there. You have to first say, okay, right now, I'm feeling a survival threat because of a sunshade. That is happening.
It creates a little distance. I am not the anger. I am observing the anger.
Exactly. It moves you from the emotional, reactive amygdala to the observational, rational prefrontal cortex. You become the observer of the machine, not the machine itself.
Okay, I can see that. I've observed the bug. Now what?
But then you have to initiate a patch. The source material suggests a technique called do it the opposite.
Which sounds simple, but I'm guessing is terrifying.
It is absolutely terrifying at first. It's a behavioral experiment. Your brain has a hypothesis.
The hypothesis is, if I confront someone, I will be crushed because I am weak.
Precisely. The only way to update that belief is to generate new data that proves the hypothesis wrong. You cannot think your way out of a feeling. You have to act your way out.
I have to go touch the stove.
You have to go touch the stove and realize it's not glowing red hot. So in your case, what would the opposite behavior be?
I had to go downstairs, walk into the salon, and have a calm conversation.
What would you say?
Something like, hey, I noticed the sunshade is blocking the path for strollers and wheelchairs. Could we move it back a bit?
My stomach churns just thinking about that. My whole body is screaming, no, right now. That physical feeling is the resistance of the old belief. It is the bodyguard screaming, don't open the door, it's dangerous out there.
But what happens if I do it? If I open the door and I say the words?
And the owner says, oh my gosh, you're right, I'm so sorry about that. And she immediately moves it. What happens to your core belief then?
It gets a massive error message. Wait, I asserted myself and I didn't die. I didn't even get yelled at. I actually won.
Boom! Software update. A tiny one, but it's an update. A new file is created. I can handle confrontation. I have agency.
And I guess if I do that 3, 4, 5 times in different situations.
You rewire the neural pathway. You build a new highway. You stop being the person who needs the rules to be safe, and you become the person who helps shape a safe environment.
That's a powerful patch. But what if it goes badly? What if I go down there and they say no? What if they tell me to get lost?
Then you survive that too. And that's an even more powerful update because you realize that someone being rude to you isn't fatal. You survive the rejection. You survive the conflict. The new software update becomes, I can withstand conflict and disagreement. Either way, you run the experiment, you win because you faced the tiger and realized it was just a cat.
I love that. But we have to warn people because my brain is smart. It's a crafty opponent. It's going to try to talk me out of doing the opposite.
Oh, it will fight dirty. This is where you meet the bodyguards of the mind, the defense mechanisms. Their only job is to protect the core belief at all costs.
Give me the most common one I need to watch out for. What's the head of security?
Rationalization is the king. It's the smooth talker.
The excuse maker.
The very, very convincing excuse maker. Let's say you put on your shoes. You're psyching yourself up to go talk to the salon owner. Suddenly, a thought pops up.
Actually, I have that Zoom call in 10 minutes.
I don't have time for this petty nonsense. I'm a busy, important person. I'm above this.
That sounds so reasonable. I would totally believe that thought.
Of course you would. That is your brain dressing up fear in a business suit and calling it time management. It's a lie. It's the bodyguard blocking the door with a clipboard, convincing you that avoiding the conflict is actually a smart executive decision.
Okay, what's another one? The source mentioned generalization.
Yes. The bodyguard's angry friend. That's when you take one data point and make it a universal law.
Like my thought, they think they own the street, quickly becomes, everyone is so rude these days.
Or society is collapsing. You can't trust anyone.
I definitely did that one.
And it's a very clever defense. Because if the problem is society, then you don't have to do anything.
Right. I can't fix society from my balcony.
So you're off the hook. You can just sit there and be the righteous victim. If the problem is I feel weak and need to practice assertion, then you have to do the scary work. Generalization is a lazy way to feel superior without solving the actual issue.
It's so much easier to say the world is broken than I feel vulnerable.
Much easier. And that leads us to the final pitfall, which is maybe the most important one to avoid.
What's that?
The solo mission. Trying to fix it all inside your own head.
Why is that a pitfall? Isn't this inner work?
It is, but the problem is your head is the one creating the illusions. You are trying to debug the code using the corrupted code itself. It's a closed loop.
You can't see the back of your own head without a mirror.
You absolutely cannot. You need a mirror.
So the mirror is what? Therapy?
A coach. It could be therapy. It could be a trusted friend, a partner.
Right.
It needs to be someone who isn't protected by your specific defense mechanisms.
Someone who's not inside my bubble.
Exactly. Like when you told me about the sunshade, and my first reaction wasn't, yeah, those jerks, anarchy. It was, why did that make you feel threatened?
Which was, I have to admit, super annoying in the moment.
Growth usually is. But you need that external perspective, that clean question to break the loop of your own story.
This has been a lot to process. I feel like I need to go apologize to my wife for that sunshade sermon.
That would be a great opposite action to start with.
How so?
Admitting you were wrong, especially when you were so full of righteous anger, is a fantastic way to prove to your brain that your ego isn't made of glass. It can take a hit. It's an act of strength, not weakness.
So for our listeners, how do we turn this deep dive into homework? How do they take this off the podcast and into their actual lives this week?
Don't try to fix your whole psyche in a day. That's overwhelming. Just build the mosaic. That's your challenge this week.
Okay.
Pick 3 moments from the last month where you had a disproportionate reaction, a moment you're still replaying in your head.
The traffic jam, that one email from your boss, the comment from a spouse.
Exactly. For each one, get a piece of paper and write down the 4 C's. Physiology. What did my body do? Behavior. What did I actually do? Emotion. What was the real feeling under the anger? Cognition. What was the hot thought?
And then you put the 3 pieces of paper side by side.
And you look for the thread, the pattern. In all 3 situations was the underlying theme, I'm not safe. Is it I'm not being heard? Is it I'm defective? Find the code. Don't judge it. Just find it.
And once you find it, once you see that ugly line of code staring back at you,
you ask yourself one powerful question. If I assume for just 5 minutes that this belief is not a fact, but just an old piece of software, what else could be true?
that's the crack in the door.
That's where the light gets in.
We're going to leave it there for today. Next time, we're moving from the B to the D and E, disputation and effective new beliefs.
We're going to learn how to write the new code once we've identified the bugs.
The upgrade is coming.
It is.
Until then, watch out for sunshades, stay curious, and thank you for listening.
Goodbye, everyone.